Okay, so we're going to be starting our storyboard project. We're editing it in Adobe Premiere. So first thing you want to know about Adobe Premiere is that the files that you will create are projects. So in other Adobe programs, Illustrator, Photoshop, you have specific file formats that are associated with the programs, right? AI files, PSDs, and those can typically only be opened in those programs. With Premiere Pro, your project is your file, and your project is almost like a combination between a file and a folder. So your project file will hold PNGs, JPEGs, MP3s, audio, images, all of it in one. So starting off with your project, we're going to give it a name, and we're going to select a place to save it. I would recommend you create a folder for your entire storyboard project, and that is where you will export and save your project file. It's where you will organize your files with your final frames and your audio and anything else you need. I would just keep everything in there, and it'll be easier to stay organized. So we have the name, we have where it's going, and that's all we need. And you will be introduced to your basic workspace. Now yours may look a little something more like this. The first time it typically will take you into the learning workspace, which is just a little bit more simplified. So we will start here in your project panel. This is where you will upload all of your media and where it will be organized within Premiere Pro. So the nice thing about Premiere Pro is that it holds files for you. So once you upload them to the project panel once, they will be there the whole time you're working on this, whether you close the program down, so long as it's opened on the same device. So in your project panel, we will be creating bins and organizing everything. In your source monitor here, it will show you specific media, and in your program monitor, it will show you your entire sequence. So for this project, the source panel or the source monitor is not very useful because you're not going to be editing your clips the way that you would a video, right? You're not going to be cutting them. It's just a singular image. So what we're going to do is go to Window, Workspace, and Essentials. And this one highlights your program monitor more. You can still get to the source if you'd like to, but you will be using this much more, so we're going to work in this workspace for this project. Over here is your effects panel. So you will be able to do all of your camera action shots, your tilting, and your panning over here. And your timeline is where your sequence will be displayed. So there's nothing here yet because we don't have a sequence yet. So we're going to start with that. Go to your project panel and go to this little new down here and select sequence. And now you're going to see a whole lot of stuff that you don't understand. I don't know what half of these are, so don't worry about it. We are going to go with the basic DSLR. I'm sure you all recognize that from your cameras. And 1080 is HD. So this is the 16:9 ratio that I spoke about, and it is also RGB. So you want to make sure that your final frames are saved in an RGB format, or else they will not upload to this. So that's an easy fix. It's something that will be easier if you do it before you save all of them. But either way, the settings, you don't have to change any of these, but just so you see them and you're familiar, this right here is our 16:9 ratio. These are specific settings if you were planning on displaying this on a film screen versus Instagram or any other type of setting you would want to modify it for that. And with the frame rates, again, since we are working with still images, the frame rate really doesn't matter. If you're working with videos, you would want to match the frame rate with whatever frame rate you shot in. So frame rate, not really important for this, but it's there if you want to check it out. And then we're going to name our sequence, and we'll just go ahead and name it the same thing. And now we have a timeline. There's nothing in it, so we're going to start putting some media in here. I want you all to create bins. So if you right click on this empty space in your project panel and hit new bin, you should be making a bin for every type of media that you're putting in. So you can name it final frames, you can just name it images, that much is up to you. And then we'll make another one for our audio. And we'll make a third one for text, just in case any of you want to add any special text elements to your credits at the end. We'll have that there. And from there, we're going to add our files into our project panel. So you can drag and drop, just grab things and drag them over. For this, I'm just going to go through the import. So if you right click and go to import, you can then select a couple wherever they're at on your computer, hit open, and they will be displayed there now, and they will stay there. So in order to get it into your timeline, you just drag and drop it. You can drag one at a time and place it at certain points, or you can drag all four, or however many as you have, and it will put them in the order that they are in your project panel. And these three, the V1 through 3, are your video tracks, and these are your audio tracks. 3 is the default. You really only need one video track and one audio track for this whole project. Some of you may find that you'll use the other ones if you want to do things like overlapping, which we can talk about, but it's really not necessary for this project. So just stick with the one audio, one video for now. So we have our bins, we have things in our timeline. How do we get them to do what we want? I believe the default is going to be like 6 or 7 seconds. It might change. You can right click and go to speed and duration and set a specific duration for each one. You can select them all together and do this as well. Or you can just drag, if you toggle over to the edges, drag it out as long or as short as you want. And you might notice this is very small right now, even though this is quite a long time to sit at this frame. So if you want to zoom in, you can hit Z and not do that. You can click, drag in a bit, and that way you can get a better look at what your clip looks like. So that is our whole first frame. It is 5 full seconds long. So we will start there. And I am going to cover the effects in the next video just so I don't get cut off. So that is the intro. That is how you get your project started. Make sure that you are command saving frequently because Premiere is a very heavy program and we know how the Macs behave. So almost every time you do anything significant, you finally get your timing right and you love how it looks, save it. Save it constantly. And I will go over the camera effects in the next video.